Hello, welcome to the United Man. Today you're going to be covering quite a few topics, including that of links to Ibrahimovic, Cristian Eriksen and Jadon Sancho. Also going over some of our recent results, all of that and more coming from a different location, as you can see. So if we start off with some of the whispers and rumours that's been going around, if we start off with the link with Ibrahimovic. Now, just wanted to state that this one's a very much so a real possibility for Ibrahimovic's return. Now, he stated that he's open for a return to Manchester United. Likewise, Ollie's left the door open as well. For me, I think it's one that we definitely need. And likewise, I generally feel that we're gonna struggle, and we are struggling to take our chances. I think the last three games in particular against Southampton, Wolves and Crystal Palace, where we failed to take numerous opportunities that we've had. Not all of them clear cut obviously, but in terms of just outright chances where we know we only get half chances in certain games, we may get one clear cut chance, but all in all, we're not taking those opportunities. For example, Daniel James's goal yesterday was a cracking goal, but that was really a bit of a half chance where he stepped inside and finished himself. Me, myself, I'm all up for the Ibrahimovic return, purely because, as I was mentioning before the transfer window closed, I was up for the likes of Mandzukic joining us, or someone of that ilk, just purely because if we needed to go to a plan B, if plan A isn't working. And at the moment, that's looked like the case where our plan A hasn't been working, and we're bringing on Mason Greenwood, who is a very similar type of player to Martial and Rashford, albeit Daniel James is, he's been doing well, but even himself, the chances he's had, should have a couple more goals. That's me being super critical though. Touching on the Jadon Sancho rumours, now there was rumours that it stated that in his contract, that if there was a Champions League English Premier League side that look to acquire his services over the next transfer windows, then there is a release clause that comes into effect. As I said, those are rumours that surfaced from reports in both Germany and Italy. It's funny how Italy always seems to get reports and sort of so-called information before the British newspapers do. But in any case, if there was any truth to that rumour, then as you can see, we need an abundance of quality in our team throughout. Defensively, I still think we're okay. It's a shame that we're missing Luke Shaw, but I think defensively, with the additions of Maguire and Wan-Bissaka, I think we're okay there. But what I do feel is because we're actually lacking on taking chances that we've created for ourselves, that in turn is putting pressure on our defence and our midfield, because you can only withstand so much pressure. But in terms of midfield, our central midfield, we still need two other players, a defensive midfielder and a central midfielder. And up top, I still think we need another experienced striker, whether it be coming off the bench or starting. And we also need a right winger, which case in point, that would be Jadon Sancho. Links to Cristian Eriksen, that one is interesting because he literally is going to be a free agent this time next year. Well, by this time next year, he would have signed for someone, obviously. But the point is, come December, he will be up for grabs. Can't see any reason why we wouldn't be in for Cristian Eriksen. And if I'm honest, if we're not in for him, I'm kind of worried about our ambitions. Now, that's not in terms of what Ollie wants, because as I keep mentioning, 2 or 3 days before the transfer window closed, Ollie was saying that we're in for a couple of players and hopefully getting those deals done. So that only means that people above him are letting him down. Cristian Eriksen obviously added to play alongside Paul Pogba. That to me just makes 100% sense. Premier League proven. Whether or not he wants to come to Manchester United, I do not know. But for me, as I said, it'd be madness if we're not actually in for him. The fact that I believe he may be looking at the likes of Barcelona and Real Madrid. That being said, they still have an opportunity to sign him now, and the fact that they're not looking at him kind of says its own story in the fact that maybe he's not an option for them at the moment. Now, obviously, wanted to chat wanted a chance to go over what it means for Alexis Sanchez leaving. I think it's kind of obvious in terms of what it means. It means we're incredibly short. Now, if we're firing on all cylinders with Martial, Daniel James and Rashford, say, 12 goals in the last 4 games, then you can kind of say, okay, well, even if one of them are injured, we can still see where the goals are going to come from. But case in point, last 3 games, we scored 3 goals. I know the Chelsea game we scored 4 goals, but obviously that was a bit of a fallacy with Chelsea's injury situation. But yeah, as I say, it leaves us incredibly short. I know Sanchez wasn't putting up trees at United, but he was, I say, with an exclamation mark, he was Premier League proven quality in terms of goal scoring and performance. Obviously, the wheels kind of fallen off for him, which is both a shame and obviously sad for Man United that it didn't work out. It is now on loan to Inter Milan. But that being said, I believe with the experience he has, and the ability that is still there in some form, way, shape or form, for him to pull out every now and then, is still some ability there for us to just let him go on loan. And bearing in mind, we're probably still paying half of his wages for him to go to another club. So we're now currently, we're down to really one striker, and that's Marcus Rashford, who, again, I'm not kind of letting the uninspiring start get to me, but we don't have a proven goal scorer within our squad, and that's not been the case for a very, very long time. Remember, before Lukaku, obviously before Lukaku, we had Van Persie, we've had Ibrahimovic, we've had, as I mentioned, Lukaku already. We don't have that goal scorer within the squad at the moment, so it's just leaving ourselves wide open to not score goals. And as I said, when we're not scoring goals, it's then putting more pressure on our defence, as you've seen, especially against Crystal Palace and against Southampton. Not so much, I wouldn't say Wolverhampton Wanderers. That was a decent performance. That was a decent performance, but again, we couldn't take our chances. Case in point, we're lacking a striker. Another point I really wanted to really touch on was the fact that we don't really have any game changers on our bench. We don't have anyone that can come on and really affect the game in a positive way in terms of being a goal threat. I think that person immediately was Daniel James, and that's how it started off in the first game against Chelsea, and that kind of proved the case, where we started with Pereira down the middle, Lingard on the right, obviously Martial and Rashford as our main goal threats, and then bringing down James on later. But for me, Daniel James is doing okay. He's doing well. He's starting games. He's scoring. He scored 3 goals now, isn't he? So I just feel as though the fact that we don't have anyone on our bench that can come on and really impact the game offensively, it's very worrying. Now we've got Andreas Pereira, we've got Scott McTominay, we've got Jesse Lingard. For me, these guys are relatively average, 23, 23, and 26 respectively. So they're not, young spring chickens. These guys should be starting or in their prime. So yeah, it's not boding well at the moment, but as I said, it's early days. As my good mate Terry always reminds me, it's a rebuild. We're at the beginning of that rebuild, so let's not panic. But what I would say is, when we've got players like Angel Gomez, who's just tearing up the under 23s because he's too good for that level, and showed the class that he has got in the pre-season against the likes of Milan and Leeds. So for me, I don't know why we're wasting time not getting him involved. It's clear and obvious that we actually need more creativity and more of a goal threat, and Angel Gomez brings both in abundance. In any case, it's been great being able to get another video back out there. Don't forget, if you're new to the channel, subscribe, leave a comment, share and like. If you're joining me again, thank you very much for returning, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.